Good morning everyone. Just give me 1 minute and we'll start the session. Okay, good morning everyone. This is Alka Mishra. Let us start with the current affairs series. So there are 2 to 3 personalities which are in news and which are actually very important from examination point of view, from the historical aspect as well, and from the current initiatives which has been taken related to that. Plus, yesterday we have celebrated the Constitution Day, that is the Samvidhan Divas. So 26th November is celebrated as Samvidhan Divas, but before 2015, it was celebrated as a law day. But after 2015, we have changed it to your Samvidhan Divas, that is the Constitutional Day. And on this Constitutional Day, President has inaugurated, or the legislative assemblies, they have decided that they will going to launch constitution in 9 regional language, in which are Nepali, Bodo, Odisha, Malayalam. These are the 9 regional languages in which your constitutions will be digitally launched, so that a lot of people in the country who are not aware of the English and Hindi properly, they can have access of the constitution in their own regional language. So this is also kind of an initiative to, it's kind of an initiative for inclusive development of the people or learning of the people in the democratic sense also. Yani the people should aware about their constitution, what is the constitution is saying. And it is also very interesting to know that the original constitution which was written, actually it was not printed constitution, it was beautifully handwritten. Your homework is that who was responsible, who is the person who has written that constitution. Yani ki the written matlab calligraphy part was done by whom. So that is also one of the important factor. Plus the constitution took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to be completed. So that's why these are some of the interesting facts about the constitution. And obviously we have brought lot of things from we have borrowed a lot of things from the different countries in our constitution. That's why our constitution is one of the lengthiest constitutions of the world, and in a very detailed manner we have done a lot of things which is benefiting people nowadays. So on 26th of November 1949 we have adopted the constitution, and on 26th of January 1950 we have enacted the constitution, yani ki the day we have become republic, constitution aapka lagu ho gaya tha. That is what the particularly thing which is very important. Very good beta. So here Raj Narayan Bihari ji bolte hain. So he is the particularly individual who was actually responsible for your writing of the constitution. Sorry, not Raj Bihari, it's Prem Bihari. Prem Bihari ji jo the, he has written the constitution, particularly the calligraphy part was done by him. Very good beta. Chaliye, now another thing which is very important, recently the 350th Matram Day or the Shahidi Divas of Guru Tej Bahadur ji has been celebrated, and in which Prime Minister unveiled the special coin and 2 commemorative stamp. So when any kind of such anniversaries of 150th, 125th, 130th or 200, 250th, a very good morning beta Milana. So such questions, our chances are very high that UPSC can ask you question from this particularly area. So Guru Tej Bahadur ji was the 9th Sikh Guru of the particularly system, and he is one of the very prominent person, मतलब कि very important person during the time of Mughal and specifically Aurangzeb के time पे. And the death he was given by Aurangzeb is actually very brutal. Okay, this is my personal opinion. I don't think you should also agree with this, or I don't believe that everyone should agree with me, because everyone has their own personal opinions. But when current government is actually talking about changing the syllabus of NCERT, adding a lot of things related to the Indian people, historians who were involved there, Indian kingdoms, Indian Sikh gurus who were actually present at that time. So this is actually a very positive move, because we are studying about Mughals, we are studying about Aurangzeb, we are studying about the different people who are present during the Mughal and the Delhi Sultanate time, but we are not studying about our individual people who were very prominent at that time, who have actually actually given their life for the services of the people. So actually in our Indian textbook, in our NCERT textbooks, we are not studying about them. We are only studying about the people who have treated our indigenous people very brutally. So that's why it is very strong move. I'm not saying that we should remove about the history, because history can't be changed, but at least you should also add the perspective, which is equally important. So that's why when we are talking about amending the NCERT, then definitely it is one of the positive move towards the development. Like students should be aware कि उनका क्या system हुआ करता था, and not only the Mughals and the medieval India is not only about the Mughals and Sultanate. There were other Indian kingdoms and Indian particularly rulers which were rulers and other particularly people. These Sikh gurus were present there who have done a lot for the society. So that's why it is very important that we should amend your NCERT book, in which these particularly individuals who are very prominent, who are missing from the system. So he was the 9th Sikh guru, Tej Bahadur Singh. He was born in 1961 in Amritsar, and in 1621 in Amritsar, and in 1675 he was beheaded by Aurangzeb. So he was actually he was captured in Agra. Matlab Aurangzeb captured him in Agra, and he took him back to your Delhi, and in Delhi Chandni Chowk, in the particularly Bhara market mein, he has been executed, beheaded by your Aurangzeb. That's why there is a guru, your Guru Shishganj Sahib is present in Delhi. So there are other prominent places also which are associated with the, but particularly Guru Tej Bahadur Singh Ji. So he was born as a Tyagmal in 1621 at Amritsar as the youngest son of Guru Hargobind Ji. He was also the 6th Guru, and he is also known for Hind Ki Chadar or Shrishti Ki Chadar. So under this Hind Ki Chadar or Shrishti Ki Chadar, he was talking about a protective humanity, how humanity is actually the prominent thing which individual should work. So he is known for his spiritual depth, humility, that is basically non-violence, courage and martyrdom, called Shrishti Ki Chadar, the shield of India. So if UPSC if in case ask you Shrishti Ki Chadar or Hind Ki Chadar is the term associated with him, that is basically your Guru Tej Bahadur Singh Ji. Plus he is also responsible for, he also basically fight for the rights of your Kashmiri Pandits. So he is also known for the same thing. Plus he was not only limited to the Mughal Empire, he also visited Assam. Assam tak he went there, and he actually, Assam, Bihar, these are the places still where he actually visited, and he taught people about the humanity and how things will be, things should act. So if UPSC asks you statement, he was limited to only north part of the country, so answer is no. He also visited basically Bihar, and Assam was one of the destination where he visited during his lifetime. So that's why if UPSC asks you such questions, so you should be aware of that also. He is not limited to only north, he has also visited to the basically northeast side of the people. So he was against the, and at that time when Aurangzeb came into the picture, when Mughals were there, they were actually forcing people to convert their religion. So he was also against the religious conversion which was actually done by the Aurangzeb at that time, and he said that if you will convert me, then all of my followers will got converted. But Aurangzeb, obviously he couldn't convert him. That's why, that is the reason why he beheaded him basically in your Chandni Chowk, New Delhi, where there is also the Gurudwara, which is actually to denote or to mark his martyrdom. So he protected the Kashmiri Pandit from the Aurangzeb politics. He was talking about the freedom of concise. He said that everyone has individual, has belief, everyone has authority to actually live their life accordingly. He also gave the quote of Ik Omkar. So that is also the concept which is associated with him. Now next, he also the founder of Anandpur Sahib, which is actually in Punjab in 1665, which is also one of the very important place related to this Sikh dynasty or the Sikh culture or the Sikh community. One more thing, Anandpur Sahib is also very important from Khalistan perspective, because there is a Anandpur resolution which has been passed when Punjab ka dispute was going on. When you will study the Khalistan issue, whenever we get time to discuss about the Khalistan issue in the current affair, definitely we will going to also discuss about the Anandpur Sahib resolution. But from here, he is also the person who is associated with the founding of your Anandpur Sahib, which he founded in 1665. Now, Obviously, he was having the conflict with Aurangzeb because he was against the Aurangzeb concept of religious conversion, forced religious conversion, and he reimposes various taxes on the Indian people. He destructed a lot of temples. He actually beheaded all the lot of people have been beheaded by this Aurangzeb. He was very cruel against the Indian Hindus and Hindu temple and Hindu culture. So he was like, either get converted, either got killed. This is the simple concept of Aurangzeb was that at that time. So that's why he was against. So Guru Sahib Ji has basically was against about the particularly policies which were of Aurangzeb, जैसे कि reimposition of jizya. This was a tax. Then temple destruction, forced conversion was there, and plus Kashmiri Pandits were brutally treated by Aurangzeb. This is also one of the particularly reason why he was against your Aurangzeb. And a very strong particularly line which was said by Guru Tej Bahadur Ji was that, if you can convert me, all Hindus will convert. This was this line which has instigated your Aurangzeb कि मुझसे पंगा ले रहा, that you are taking actually पंगा with directly with me, and this is the reason why you will see all particularly he was beheaded by your Aurangzeb, and this particularly line was took by Aurangzeb as a challenge ki how he can challenge me, how he can challenge the whole Mughal empire. So this was the reason why he was actually beheaded, and not only he was beheaded, but it was such a cruel thing that 3 of his main followers, who were known as Bhai Matidas, Bhai Satidas and Bhai Dayala, they were actually sawn alive, यानी जिंदा काट दिया गया एक को. One has been boiled basically alive, and another one has been basically wrapped and burned. This is such a brutal kind of basically death which was given by your Mughal empire or Aurangzeb to your basically the followers, the major followers of Guru Tej Bahadur Ji. Followers also. So he was arrested. Particularly Guru Tej Bahadur Ji was arrested in Agra, and then he was taken to Delhi, and in Chandni Chowk he wasn't beheaded, but his other companions were also brutally executed. Bhai Mati Das was sawn alive. Bhai Sati Das was wrapped and burned. Bhai Dayala was boiled alive, and he was beheaded in Chandni Chowk. And from where the particularly Gurudwara Shishganj, Shish is like the head. So Gurudwara Shishganj Sahib, that's why has been created in Chandni Chowk. So if you have visited Delhi and you have visited this Gurudwara, then this is the Gurudwara which is actually denoting your the Guru Tej Bahadur Singh Ji, that is the 9th Sikh Guru. Then Guru Rakabganj Sahib, this is also in basically in Delhi, and Anandpur Sahib. These are the 3 major particularly major places, the holy places which is actually associated with your 9th Sikh Guru, and he was the son of your 6th Sikh Guru. Now, his body was also taken secretly to your Lakhi Sa Vanjara, and it was cremated at his own place, that is your Amritsar, because chori se body has been taken so that isse zyada body ke saath na kiya jaye kuch galat. So that's why this is the particularly thing which you will see he has done to the society, and at the end of the system he has given the term Khalsa, that is the development of humanity. This is particularly the concept which has been inspired by him. So inspired by Guru Tej Bahadur Ji, his son Guru Gobind Singh Ji went on to formalize the Sikh community into a distinguished and symbolic society known as Khalsa. So this is the particularly concept which is related to Guru Tej Bahadur Singh Ji. So if UPSC asks you something statement like this, he was limited to basically only to your north part, the answer is no. He also visited your Assam, Bihar mein also he has visited. Then Gurdwara Rakabganj, Anandpur Sahib, and the Gurdwara Shishganj is associated with this. This is the particularly, he was present during the time of Aurangzeb. He was against his tax system, he was against his forced conversion system, he was against the destruction of the temple, and he also basically supported Kashmiri Pandits against, because your basically Aurangzeb was brutally treating to the Kashmiri Pandits also. So that's why he also supported your Kashmiri Pandits. So this is actually all about your the particularly 350th Martyrdom Day of Guru Tej Bahadur Singh Ji. Now the next article. Inauguration of Nai Chetana 4.0 campaign 2025. Now what is a Nai Chetana campaign? Nai Chetana is a campaign which is actually related to basically change. Ab change related to whom? So majorly it is talking about gender equality in the society. So लिंग आधारित हिंसा के खिलाफ एक राष्ट्रीय अभियान, यानी कि नई चेतना मीन्स द जेंडर बेस्ड डिस्क्रिमिनेशन which is actually going on the country. So it is a नई चेतना मुहिम which is now a 4.2 is a kind of initiative which has been taken to counter this problem of the country. So the government launched the 4th edition of a nationwide नई चेतना initiative for change campaign to empower women. So now if UPSC asks you any of the question related to this on a statement basis कि नई चेतना term recently seen in news और नई चेतना से related, if any of the statement is related, so you should be aware of the fact that नई चेतना is talking about what? It is talking about women empowerment. चलिए, so it was launched by Ministry of Rural Development. So obviously whenever we are studying any kind of a scheme, you should always be aware of कि कौन सी ministry is responsible, which ministry is responsible for it, what are the, if there is 2 or 3 industries which are ministries which are working for it, yeah, only one ministry is responsible, what is the aim, what is the objective, and what are the other if and buts of that scheme. That is very important from any scheme perspective which you have to study. So what is the ministry? So Ministry of Rural Development is actually working for it, and it is implemented under the initiative that is known as Deen Dayal Antyodhya Yojana and a National Rural Livelihood Mission. So it is actually implemented under this scheme, and this scheme is actually also working for how we can uplift the life of rural people by providing them all the possible services so that they can actually develop socially, economically and financially. So this is what actually the initiative is. So if UPSC asks you कि नई चेतना is an independent scheme, so answer is no. It is a scheme which has been launched under or implemented under your Deen Dayal Antyodhya NRLM, that is your National Rural Livelihood Mission. It's a 4th edition, obviously that's why it's a 4.0 thing which you will see, and the theme is gender based violence, that is GBV, awareness, prevention and response, with the tagline Gender Samaj Samvedana Saksham Samuday. So this is the tagline of this with the theme of gender based violence. Now we say that ki आजकल तो औरतें भी इक्वली कर रही हैं. देखा ब्लू ड्रम विच हैज़ बीन केम इनटू द पिक्चर, तो ब्लू ड्रम से पूरा ही मीम्स हैज़ बीन स्टार्टेड क्रिएटेड कि मर्द समाज इज द प्रताड़ित समाज एंड दिस इज ऑल दिस थिंग. लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स हैव बीन स्टार्टेड कि नॉट ओनली women's आर द वन हु आर फेसिंग सच काइंड ऑफ वायलेंस, वी men are also very lacher in the system. But the point here is that some of the cases can be seen like this also, because women gender का particularly when we are talking about specifically about domestic violence, we are not only talking about एक तरफा. This is also the particularly petition has been filed in Supreme Court कि the definition of domestic violence should not be only limited to females only, should not be only limited to women only. Men should also be added in this, because now the cases of men can also be seen in the system. So that's why domestic violence definition should be widened. That is a different concept which is also going on. But when we compare the data, when we compare the different studies, still the number of women who are facing domestic violence and the different forms of violence is more as compared to the men. So when we talk about gender equality, we are not saying that ki all the women should be except all the women are all the men are not actually included in this, but we are talking about the generalized data where majority of the victims of such gender based violence is your women. So that's why Nai Chetana is also talking about the change about the gender equality. Why? Because the number of cases of domestic violence against women is still high as compared to the men. So that's why we are talking about how we should actually work on the protection of women. And the high level of domestic violence at workplace, house, harassment and gender discrimination can be seen. And why we need this Nai Chetana? Because lot of women, they are not aware about the helpline number, the schemes which are there from which they can benefit. Jaise ki She Act is there. There under the Act, Harassment Act is there. POSH acts are there. These are the acts which says that if any of the individual company may, if they are facing such kind of harassment, they can complain against the individual under the POSH Act. If any in any organization when there are more than 10 women which are working, it is mandatory that there should be a complaint box where they can secretly go and leave their letter, and there should be an internal community which will be related to the women related problems in the particularly that company, so that particularly letters they can have an idea ki which particularly women is suffering suffering from what kind of a harassment, so that किसी का नाम बाहर नहीं आए. So this is also one of the ways. So women are not aware about the particularly policies, acts and initiative which are for them, from which they can benefit and can get out of such kind of violence and harassment which they are facing silently. So lack of awareness of the legal rights, helpline number and the system and schemes which are available. Then gender discrimination embedded in norms, custom and community behavior. Nai Chetana will going to work on the behavior change of the people. You say that ki when we talk about rape cases में पहले there was a myth कि लड़की ऐसे कपड़े पहनती है, because of such cases are taking place. But what will we say about the 4 or 3 year particularly girl child who are actually getting raped? So what is the mindset? So it's all about the mindset of the individual, which actually not only dependent on clothes and what is the character of the girl is. So that's why Nai Chetana is talking about कि भैया we should work on the behavior of the individual, because it's not the cloth, it's not the lifestyle of the women which is responsible, but it is actually the thinking of the society and the behavior of the individual is responsible for such kind of activities and violence which is going on. So that's why what Nai Chetana is talking about. And Nai Chetana mein we are also taking the help of Panchayat, because rural area mein we are specifically targeting this kind of a gender based violence, to reduce these kind of a gender based violence, and that's why we are focusing on this. There is a very famous meme जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि whenever a guy used to smoke बोलते हैं फेफड़े खराब हो जाएंगे, the lungs will get affect, breathing problems will occur. But whenever a girl is actually also smoking, तो उसको बोलते हैं characterless girl है, she just smoking, इसका तो character ही खराब है. So there is a very famous meme कि if a boy is actually smoking, उसका भी lung और खराबी होगा, but if a girl is also smoking, उसके भी lungs ही खराब होगा, उसका character खराब नहीं होता है. So we have these kind of a behavior pattern which in our mind which says that कि अगर ये कर रही है तो she is a bad girl. So Nai Chetana is actually targeting that behavior change, that thinking कि भैया this is actually, I'm not saying to generalize smoking, I'm just saying that to make that common. नहीं, I'm just saying कि किस तरीके का mental particularly level of thinking people have, and Nai Chetana is actually talking about change that thinking of the people. So what is the objective of Nai Chetana? So obviously to create awareness, so that all forms of services, helplines, whatever the things which are provided by the government and the department, that should actually that should be actually availed by the people. Promote behavioral change, because until and unless you're not changing the behavior, you're not awareing the individual, you're not making learn individual about the concepts, ye aage cheeze it will not going to change. So it is actually to promote the behavioral change. Strengthen community support system also. We need to work on the community system as well, because majority of the particularly people who are victims and survivors. Recently a video has been got viral. If I'm not wrong, it's a woman from Haryana or somewhere. She was a rape survivor and she was just running after the DIG कि मेरा rape हुआ है. These are the people, why you're not actually क्या बोलते हैं, उनका culprits को आप पकड़ क्यों नहीं रहे हैं. So the video got viral. Lallan Top is also the platform where you will see such kind of videos. This video got viral. So just imagine what is the support system, how it is working. कि the rape survivor itself it's running after the police कि भाई मुझे तो इंसाफ दिला, मैं खुद सामने आ रही हूँ कि मेरे साथ इतने लोगों ने मिलके rape किया है. So such kind of things are still going on in the particularly system. Build a gender responsive governance system. Train self-help groups for regarding that, so that more and more awareness can be done by the local people at the local level, and also work on the institutional gender dialogue system, yani at the academic level, at the rural level, at the school level, at the institution level. You should train individual, you should train particularly people who are present in the panchayat and the self-help group, so that they can also create awareness regarding the same, and more women get protected and safe, and they get benefit the initiative of your Nai Chetana. So this is very important initiative which has been taken. So if UPSC asks you something related to good governance also, so you can write heading as a gender based, to reduce gender based discrimination, and you can explain that point in one line, and then example Nai Chetana 4.0. So this is also the concept which you will see. Now, new varieties of bush frogs has been found in your northeast. Now what are bush frogs? And the only and one of the most unique feature of this bush frog is जनरली वी सी दैट कि जो फ्रॉग होता है वो अंडे देता है एंड इट हैच, तो इट बिकम्स एक्चुअली टैडपोल्स होते हैं, तो छोटे 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 टैडपोल्स होते हैं. फ्रॉम टैडपोल्स द जर्नी ऑफ द फ्रॉग बिगिंस. ठीक. बट दीज बुश फ्रॉग्स आर लाइक नॉर्मली, जैसे कि एग हुआ, एग में से हैच हुए एंड ये फ्रॉग्स आपके नॉर्मल सिस्टम से बाहर आ गए, कोई टैडपोल फेज ही नहीं होता है. सो बुश फ्रॉग में देर इज नो टैडपोल फेज ऑफ दिस फ्रॉग. दिस इज द मोस्ट एक्सेप्शनल क्वालिटी ऑफ योर बुश फ्रॉग कि इनका टैडपोल फेज ही नहीं है. इट डजंट हैव दैट टैडपोल फेज, इज डायरेक्टली हैचिंग फ्रॉम द एग. दे आर कमिंग आउट एज अ बेसिकली स्मॉल इंडिविजुअल, मतलब स्मॉल फ्रॉग की तरह दे एक्चुअली कम आउट ऑफ द हैच्ड एग. सो देयर इज अ नो टैडपोल फेज ऑफ दिस बुश फ्रॉग एंड दिस इज द ओनली इंपॉर्टेंट एंड एक्सेप्शनल particularly feature of this particularly frog, that is bush frog. Majorly these bush frogs were endemic to your western ghat, यानी कि कर्नाटका, केरला, some part of Maharashtra में. Only these are the regions where this bush frogs were present. But now the new species of bush frogs has been found in your northeast India. So this is the news which you will see. So Wildlife Institute of India has recorded 13 new species of bush frog from northeast states. Now total we have on an average 95 species of bush frogs in the country. So we have found out 13 new species of bush frogs. So what is the particularly states from where the species of bush frogs has been found? So 6 species were identified in, this is the fact which we have to learn, from Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, and one each in Assam, Mizoram, Nagaland and Manipur. You can say almost in every particularly area of your northeastern states we have found this particularly bush frog, that is your Arunachal Pradesh. Then 3 species in your Meghalaya, one each in your Assam, Nagaland and Manipur. And now India has 95 bush frog species which you will see in the country. Now if UPSC asks you, we have only 5 to 6 bush frog species present in the country, so nahi, we have 95 bush frog species present in the country. Second, if UPSC asks you in a statement form, they are only endemic, yeah, they are only present in the Western Ghat states, so answer is nahi. They can also now, they have been found in your northeast states as well. So such statements become wrong if UPSC asks you question like this of a statement based in UPSC prelims examination. Now they belong to a genus, that is your Roarchestis. Common name is your bush frog or shrub frog. They are known as, because majorly they are found in the bushes, so that's why they are known as basically your bush frogs. What's the family? So it's your Rocaphidoria 3 frogs family which you can see, and they show a direct particularly development which we have already discussed, that is no tadpole stage, that is H hag directly into miniature adult. This is a very important point, because every frog doesn't show this kind of a features. This is the particularly feature which is very important. Bush frogs, they actually directly hatch into a miniature rather than going to a tadpole phase. So no tadpole phase can be seen in this bush frog. Very important, that's why I am repeating this again and again. They show direct development, that is no tadpole stage. Egg hatches it's to a directly into a miniature adult. Mostly they were endemic to Western Ghat, but now they have been found in Northeast India. That means ki now they are no more actually endemic to Western Ghat only. So recently they have been found. Earlier they were used to found in the Western Ghat states, which were the states Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. These are the states particularly where in Western Ghat region where you will find such kind of bush frogs, but now also in the northeast you can see. Plus Western Ghat is also endemic to various species like butterfly. A good number of butterfly species are also present in basically in this region only. That's why Maharashtra has opened its first butterfly national park. So that's why this region Western Ghat is known as natural एक तरीके से science laboratory or animal laboratory के लिए we treat, because lot of species of snakes, birds, insects, butterfly you can see in your Western Ghat region. And with the environmental concern from the last few years. Scientists and environmentalists are concerned because Western Ghat species are declining because of the environmental changes. So that is the problem because of the global warming and climate change, and because of the issues which is related to the climate. Lot of species are no more endemic here. Lot of species are dying, and lot of species, the Western Ghat importance is decreasing day by day. That is also one of the major concern for the country. Now, obviously the Western Ghat is also your UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. Now, this is the particularly fact which okay, yes. South में majority of the farmers are also very irritated, or they are not happy with this basically frog, because they are eating the cardamom stem. यानी कि इलायची की जो stem है, they eat that stem, because of which they destroy lots of cardamom plants, and this is the problem of farmers. So they are also the problem of farmers in this region of Western Ghat. So the bush frog, or Rotagestis ponmudi, eats up moths known as to destroy cardamom, basically pseudostem, a major menace faced by the farmers. So this is also the thing which you will see which is associated with this bush frog. Very important from examination point of view, because species is one of the topic where UPSC asks question you about. Now the next article is related to basically your Ahom dynasty. The tribute to the courage of Lachit Borphukan. So Prime Minister has recently paid a tribute to the general of Ahom dynasty. He was the general of the Ahom kingdom, which was actually the Assam-based kingdom. That is known as your Lachit Borphukan on the Lachit Divas. So recently a Lachit Divas has been celebrated. And on the occasion of Lachit Divas, Prime Minister have basically showed its tribute. So from here we will actually talk about who is actually the General Lachit Borphukan. We will also study about the particularly Lachit Divas. And we will also study about the Battle of Saraighat. This is very important battle which you will see related to this. History mein you will study about the Battle of Saraighat, and about the founder of your Ahom dynasty, and basically what are the particularly titles which has been given by the people who are present in this dynasty of Ahom. So we will try to cover the every aspect which is related to this particularly topic. So first of all, who was actually your Lachit Borphukan? So Ahom dynasty is one of the very prominent dynasty which is present in your Assam region, which was present in your Assam, and they were also not the indigenous people of Assam. So Ahom particularly king, he has been migrated, or he has been came from your Myanmar region, which was earlier known as Burma. So Ahom dynasty ki jo particularly neev hai, it was actually started from Burma, that is Myanmar. So from there the king has came here, they have settled themselves here. They are the one who actually fought against directly with the Mughal dynasty in the Assam region. So they were responsible from stopping your Mughal dynasty to capture your northeast region as well. So that's why Ahom dynasty is very important. And one of the general of Ahom dynasty which was very prominent was your Lachit Borphukan. So he is a legendary person who have stopped Mughal empire from entering into Assam, and via battle, which is a very famous battle which was held on the banks of river Brahmaputra, that is known as Battle of Saraighat, that is in 1671. So a legendary Ahom military commander Borphukan of 17th century Assam, known for its leading Ahom forces against your Mughal empire, and the Mughal empire was led by an Indian king, that was, if I am not wrong, his name was your Ram Singh. So Ram Singh, or Ram something name of that particular king. So Mughal empire, with the help of Ram Singh, they have attacked your basically Ahom dynasty, and at that time Lachit Borphukan was basically the commander of the Ahom dynasty, and on the banks of river Brahmaputra the battle has taken place, that is known as Battle of Saraighat, and Lachit Borphukan and the Ahom dynasty have actually defeated the Mughal empire, and they have stopped their entry in the Assam region or the Ahom kingdom. So He's celebrated for exceptional leadership, naval warfare tactics on the Brahmaputra and basically in of its patriotism. Whenever we talk about a good navy, we always talk about the Chola Cheras, matlab the southern dynasties, or southern maybe when we talk about very strong navy, then specifically the first name which comes is your Chola dynasty. But Ahoms were also one which were actually having a very prominent and good navy structure with small basically your naval boats were used, and a very effective kind of a naval forces and naval technique was used to counter basically the opposition forces or the opposition dynasties which tried to attack this region of Ahom kingdom. So in this region they were also having a very smart navy because of the presence of the Brahmaputra river. So celebrated for exceptional leadership, naval warfare tactics on the Brahmaputra and the patriotism, and the motto which was associated with him is your देखौत कोई मूर बिसौर दिबो, यानी कि I will sacrifice my life but not my motherland. So this is a very strong line which was said by him. So if you remember such a line, so you can write about this line in any of the answer if it's related to something like this, or you can write such kind of a particularly terms or such kind of a sayings in your essay writing as well. So from that perspective, it is also very important thing which you will see. So Lachit Borphukan, Ahom dynasty and your battle of Saraighat, this is very important. Now what is Lachit Divas? So to commemorate his particularly leadership, to commemorate his commandership, we celebrate every year 24th November as a Lachit Divas, and we actually pay tribute to your Lachit Borphukan, and under which we are also providing awards to the defense person. So a proper award has been named after him. So the government of Assam instituted a Lachit Borphukan Gold Medal Award to the best cadet of National Defence Academy. NDA का अगर कोई भी ऐसा particularly individual who is working exceptional in the defense forces, so Assam government is giving your award that is known as Lachit Borphukan Gold Medal. If my pronunciation might be wrong, but I'm sorry for that, but Lachit Borphukan, jitna I know, this is the particularly pronunciation which you will do. So under this Divas, on this Divas, we are actually giving your tribute, cultural programs are there, public lectures and national remembrance events are held in this particularly on this day, that is on 24th November, and on the same day government of Assam is also giving your basically medal, Lachit Borphukan medal, to basically the people who are working exceptional in your defense services or the people of your NDA National Defense Academy. Now the battle of Saraighat, 1671. So obviously it was fought on the Brahmaputra river near your Guwahati, that is in Assam. So armed forces which was led by your basically Ahom forces was led by your Lachit versus Mughal forces was led by Ram Singh. So Ram Singh I was the individual or the king who was helping your Mughal forces. So actually it was the war which has been taken place, and with a very strong naval battle, one of the particularly greatest riverine battle of the country, your Ahom dynasty or the Lachit Borphukan, they actually achieved the target and he have defeated the particularly Mughal empire. So what they used were very small and agile boats which we have already discussed, then guerrilla naval techniques, then the night attacks, they used to follow night attacks and control of river channels. They were very aware of the river channels of the Brahmaputra. So they used that as a weapon against any of the kingdom or any of the empire which tried to attack your Ahom dynasty. Very good riverine structure, very good basically naval base they were having at that time. So that's why they have actually led to a decisive victory and Mughal expansion have been reduced in your Ahom dynasty. So this was your Lachit Borphukan, Lachit Divas, and your battle of Saraighat. So these are the three events which we have discussed from this particularly current affair. Now the next thing which is from the extra information which is related to the same article. Who was the founder of this dynasty? That is your Ahom dynasty. So Ahom dynasty actually obviously praised in Assam. Cholung Sukhapa was actually in 13th century. He was actually the founder of Ahom kingdom. He came from Burma to his region. So that ruled Assam for 6th century. He has actually obviously, chalo, इससे पहले just related to the other fact. So he has actually migrated Sir Edward Gate, in his book, the book which was actually written by the Britishers, Sir Edward Gate, A History of Assam. So, Sir Edward Gate, in his book, The History of Assam, he wrote that Sukhapa is said to have left a place called Maulung, Burma, which is now known as Myanmar, in 1215 AD with 8 noble and some people. And then he came to Brahmaputra river or the Assam region, and he and his people reached Brahmaputra valley, and in 1235 AD he finally settled in Chairedio in your upper Assam, and from here he established his first small principality in your Chairedio, and from there he sown the seed of your Ahom dynasty. So this is actually the history which is actually mentioned in Sir Edward Gate. He was a Britisher who wrote his book, The History of Assam, and in that book he mentioned about the founder of basically Ahom dynasty, and he mentioned that Sukhapa he has actually visited from your Myanmar, that is at that time it was known as Burma. He came up with some of his noble people and your some people, 8 noble and with some people. He came to Brahmaputra in 1235 AD. He settled near Brahmaputra, and he also basically upper part of Assam, that was in upper part of Assam, that is your Chairedio, and from Chairedio he has started its dynasty that is known as Ahom dynasty. Now, obviously he ruled there for 6 centuries, but at the end of the day British has annexed basically Ahom dynasty, and the treaty was signed at that time between the Ahom and the Britishers, and the treaty was known as Treaty of Yan Dabu. Treaty of Yan Dabu. So if UPSC asks you about treaty at one side and the dynasty at one side, and if in this then that particularly match the following column, if Treaty of Yan Dabu is mentioned, then that is a treaty which was signed between Britishers and Ahom dynasty in 1826. So the Ahom ruled the land till the province was annexed by British India or Britishers in India in 1826 with the signing of a treaty that is known as Treaty of Yan Dabu. Hope so things are clear till here. Everything we have mentioned, all the important topics I am trying to, all the important aspects I am trying to cover, so that in future the chances of marking any statement wrongs become less. Now, many of a time UPSC used to ask you कि भैया is actually they are asking such questions कि they can ask you Bor Barua is recently seen in news related to what, or they can give you the offices of your Ahom dynasty or any of the Mughal dynasty or any of the dynasties of the world or the country, and on the next side they can ask you what was the role or what was the mean of that particular thing. So these were the offices of your Ahom dynasty. Let us see what were the offices and what was their work. So Swargadyo. The Swargadyo, what was the role? He was the king. Matlab the king was known as Swargadyo. Then Burhagohen and Borgahon is the first and the second great counselors of Ahom dynasty were known as Burgahogen and Burgohen. अब कैसे pronunciate करते थे exactly I don't know. Then Burhagohen and Borgohen. So Borgohen and Burgahoen. These are the first and the second great counselors of Ahom dynasty they used to call. Then Borfukan was also basically, so Lachit Borfukan. So Borfukan was actually what? It was a role. So it was a viceroy and military governor of West Assam was known as Borfukan. So Lachit Borfukan. So Borfukan is actually, he was the viceroy and military governor of your Western Assam. Then Borbarua. So civil military administration for Upper Assam is known as Borbarua. Fukans and Baruas, the commanders of specialized military wings were known as Fukans or Baruas. एक बार वापस देख लेते हैं. Swargadyo, king. Burhagohen, first great counselor. Borgohen, second great counselor. Borfukan, viceroy plus military governor of Western Assam. Borbarua, that is civil military administrator for Upper Assam. Fukans and Baruas are the commander and specialized military wings during the Ahom dynasty. Please make sure you are just learning this. Bas rat lo ki what is this basically concept is all about, because they can ask you in basically in examination, they can ask you questions from here. Now what is the society? Society was divided into small clans which was known as khel. Society was divided into small clans which was known as khels. Then practice of writing, Buranjis, chronicles in Ahom and Assamese language. So the writings which was done in Assamese language, or the chronicles which were written during the time of Ahom, they were known as Buranjis. So if UPSC asks you the term Buranjis recently seen in news related to which dynasty? So Ahom dynasty. If they ask you the term Buranji recently is associated with what? So it's a chronicle or basically the writing which was done during the Ahom dynasty in the Assamese language. This was basically your Buranjis. Then obviously they used to follow Hinduism and Vaishnavite, while they were majorly following the Hinduism and Vaishnavite was present here. We have also discussed about one of the prominent individual, I'm not getting the name right now. We have also discussed about him who was present, the Vaishnavite which was present in the Assam region. If you last week or last to last week we have studied about that particularly individual also. The Vaishnavite, who spread Vaishnavite in the Assam region. I'm not exactly getting the right name right now, but just go through that live class also. अपना एक हफ्ते या 2 हफ्ते पहले का just go through the PPT which is shared with you guys. So एक बार देखो उसमें, you will get an idea and just basically revise that thing. So now the next species which you will see, that is known as Cuban Zapata swamp. So in Cuba's Zapata swamp, biologist Andres Hurtado leads a restoration effort to save the Cuban gar. So this is a Cuban gar, which is a species which is present in majorly present in the Cuban or the Atlantic side of the country. So what is the particularly concept? It is also known as manjuari. It is also known as manjuari and it is endemic to Cuba, and it is actually restricted as a western mainland and Isle of Youth. Zyadatar matlab they are present in the Cuba region, that is the Cuban, that's why it is also known as Cuban gar. They are also known as manjuari. Majorly they are present in the coastal rivers, bayous, swamps, tidal lands, channels and lagoons, characterized by abundant aquatic vegetation, feeding primarily on the fishes. Their habitat is losing because of the continuous fishing, overfishing, the prey item, establishment of the various non-invasive species and majorly non-native species are also entering in the Cuban water, because of which these species are losing its relevance and they are dying. That's why Cuban government and Cuban scientists, they are working for the conservation of this Cuban gar. What is the IUCN status? So it is critically endangered, yani ki it is about to end. If it is not protected, then it might end in a few years. It might got extinct in a few years. That is what your Cuban gar is. So Cuban gar, which is also known as manjuari. So if UPSC asks you the term manjuari recently seen in news, related to what? So it is actually related to your particularly fish species which is present endemic to Cuba and which has IUCN status, that is your critically endangered. Now, Chief of Army Staff General Upendra Dwivedi has paid homage to soldiers who laid down their lives during Operation Pavan in Sri Lanka. So obviously the क्या बोलते हैं, it was launched by Rajiv Gandhi in basically Sri Lanka, and civil war was going on between Sri Lanka, between the Sinhalese, the original indigenous people of Sri Lanka, and the Tamil peoples who have been migrated from Indian Tamil side to Sri Lanka. So Tamil people, they were saying that ki hamare ancestors, they have came to Sri Lanka. It's not new. Bhai, you have recently got the independence in 1947 or 48 mein they have also got the independence. That doesn't mean you will ask us to leave the country because our ancestors have migrated here. Our ancestors have been migrated from the Tamil, but actually we are now the indigenous people of here Sri Lanka. We are living here from more than 80, 90, 100 or 200, 300 years. So how you can say that ki we are not the Sinhalese Sri Lankan people and you are asking us to go back to the India? So that's why the particularly civil war, the war between the two communities have started in that particularly country in Sri Lanka, that is between the Sinhalese and Tamil people. And Tamil people, they have formed a guerrilla organization. What is guerrilla organization? Jaise ki the Naxals which are present in the country. One more thing, government has targeted that by 2026 March, we will going to end rural Naxalism from the country, and we are already 70-80% we have achieved the target. So same like Naxal people who believe that government is not listening to them, they are not actually considering them, and the people against the government, they actually pick up the weapons and they directly fight with the Sarkar. Those people are known as guerrilla organization. Same. The Tamils people in Sri Lanka, they have formed an organization, guerrilla organization, that is known as Litte. That is Tamil Ilam Organization, Liberation of Tamil Ilam Organization, and Litte and Sri Lankan government and the Sri Lankan people, they have directly clashes. The war has been started with them, and Rajiv Gandhi ji at that time, he said that to stop this war, we will going to send our Indian peacekeeping forces in Sri Lanka, who will going to make sure the minority Tamils which are present in the pop country, they are protected, and they will going to try to maintain peace between the Sinhalese, the majority people of the Sri Lanka, and the Tamil who was minority or who is minority in Sri Lanka. So they try basically to maintain peace. So India sent under Rajiv Gandhi the peacekeeping forces, and the operation under which the Indian peacekeeping forces were sent is your Operation Pavan. So we have tried to basically normally we have tried to basically stop the violence. We have tried to, so that more and more people get actually have a friendly behavior. We have tried ki governments aapas mein baat kare. We have also agreed to take some of the Tamils back. But at the end of the day, the result of this Indian peacekeeping forces or Operation Pavan was that later Rajiv Gandhi ji was assassinated by one of the Litte women. She made herself a suicide bomb, and then she actually, Rajiv Gandhi ji was present in South India or somewhere for the rally, and she actually, with a garland, she went to basically Rajiv Gandhi by becoming a suicide bomber, and then the attack has been done on Rajiv Gandhi ji, he has died, and people were not happy with Operation Pavan. One of the reasons for assassination of your Rajiv Gandhi ji was also your Operation Pavan, because Litte felt that Indian government is against the Tamilian minorities, so that's why the particularly Litte people, they have attacked your Rajiv Gandhi and assassinated your Rajiv Gandhi. So, but Operation Pavan ka recently we have all commemorated the particularly soldiers which were there. Now the exercise Surya Kiran. Exercise Surya Kiran is a military exercise which we conduct with your Nepal. So recently, India and Nepal has commenced the 19th edition of military exercise, that is Operation Exercise Surya Kiran in Pithoragarh, Uttarakhand. Pithoragarh is a part of your Uttarakhand, and Nepal is also saying that some part of Pithoragarh, that is the Uttarakhand part, the Kalapani region is actually belongs to Nepal. So we also have a border dispute in the same region with Nepal as well. So that is also different part. But yes, recently the Operation Kiran, exercise Surya Kiran is going on between India and Nepal, and it's an annual exercise, yani ki har saal hoti hai. So it's an annual exercise between Indian Army and Nepal. Reciprocal basis पे अब इस साल हुई है इंडिया में, so next year it will be conducted in Nepal. So annual basis पे we are working. So we are working how to combat the different military tactics, how we can actually fight together, we can learn from each other in the highly difficult terrain, how we can work together. This is the particularly concept on which this exercise is conducted between both the countries. So that's all for today. We have discussed almost all the important articles which are important from the day. Some more articles which I have discussed earlier about the labor code. 4 new labor codes have been implemented. So there were 29 acts and there were Kanun or the laws which were present in the system which were talking about the labor code. But now government has summarized. Officially it was announced very pehle, but officially they have summarized it under 4 laws. We will see in detail about that 4 laws also. What is that 4 laws and what is the summarization of a 4 laws has been taken place. So yes, we'll discuss about some more important articles tomorrow, and that's all for today. We'll meet again tomorrow with a lot of current affairs. Have a very nice day, and keep basically